Ahoy, mateys.
That as well. Since we're using, is that an O Canada Day word? Is that what you guys say
No,
to
I
each
don't
other
think
on
so.
O Canada Day?
No, it's like what Alexander Graham Bell said on his first telephone call. Instead of hello, he would just go ahoy.
I thought they
So
said like hello world. Maybe that was the first email. I don't know.
that was like a programming thing. Don't get
Uh,
it twisted. Welcome everyone. Thanks for checking in. Week
16?
16.
I
Ugh,
know. That's like 4
puke.
months and change.
Oh, holy cow! It is.
Quick math.
Ooh, that's a good bad sign.
Right. Everyone checking
Well,
in.
at least
Thanks
for
again.
entertaining people. Yeah.
Portugal, Illinois, Colorado, Oregon, Alabama, North Carolina, Minnesota, New Hampshire, Costa Rica. Nice.
I have all of those too.
Connecticut,
I have all the
TGH
same
is here.
people.
Texas, Tejas.
Tejas.
Yeah, we'll see if on the live stream bingo, we're gonna see what cuts out on Matt tonight. So
Yeah. Uh,
there
well, hey, I don't want to jinx
gas
it.
leak explosions on there. Uh,
That was, that was yesterday and not my house, but my best friend's house directly across the street. So that was pretty scary.
yeah.
Uh, but I had, not to jinx it, but it was perfect last night. No problems whatsoever. I've already checked the camera settings. I've got the thing. I've got a fan going. We're good. We're good. Most of
You have all those things plugged into one power strip because
it. Oh dear.
right.
I'm just waiting for the dog to like hear a firework, freak out, jump, and knock everything off the desk. That's sort of what I think might
Wild. We're gonna have to put that in the free space because.
happen. Hope everyone's doing well tonight.
Yes.
It's definitely a touch bit warmer out there for me,
Oh,
um,
it's
which is nice.
we're staying in the exceedingly hot range lately anyway. But looking
Oh,
forward
that's
to
great.
having Mr. James Knight on.
Yeah, we don't. I don't think we should waste much of his time because it's already tomorrow there, and from what I understand, he's actually working. So
Ah, so,
we
yeah.
should make it quick.
Let's jump right in.
Okay,
Get James in.
I'm gonna add him to the telephone thingy here, James Knight,
He's standing by, I
and
assume.
yeah, he is definitely standing by. I'm calling him right now, and hopefully the stream doesn't go all goofy on
Oh,
us here.
definitely did that on my end.
There he is. Hello, James. Can you?
Let's
I don't.
see.
It
I've
was
got
working yesterday.
well that's good. At least we've got that in favor.
I don't know. He's looking a little.
I do not have him on
Frozen.
my side yet, but we'll see.
There he is. He's coming in now. Hello. There he
Yeah,
is. We got you.
yeah, you can hear me okay?
We can't
We can hear you okay.
Okay, good.
yes, that's the audio quality is similar to a pop can or what do you call it? Soda can? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a soda can. Yeah, I think that's where he is.
James, it's
So I'm
great to
just
see
gonna.
you again.
Yeah, man, it's been a little while, dude. How are you?
It is. It's been was it Proline last year?
Yeah,
Nearly over a year. Yeah, it's good to
just
see
over
you
a
guys.
year. Yeah,
Incredible. I
and
can't believe it's been that long.
since then, so much has changed for for you.
I mean,
Yeah, a little bit.
yeah, it's been a big shift for me. And then compound everything that's going on in the world. It's been quite a crazy 12 months.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can
that
imagine.
as well.
I'm
For
sure. I'm sure when you said, you know what, fam, let's move everyone to Australia. This is exactly what you were expecting was going to happen.
Right. Yeah. I just did a count with my wife. We've been in the house for 17 weeks straight now. And
Oh,
so we haven't really been living in Australia as much as we've been living in the house in Australia. So
wow, that's
yeah,
that's
that is intense.
quite the situation. I
Yeah,
don't
no
think
kidding.
that any of Matt or our viewers need much of a big picture introduction, but I think just to be complete, we should tell people a little bit, or you should tell people a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and what Knight Customs is.
All right. So James Knight, founder of Knight Customs, started the company, was it 7 years ago now? This is the seventh year. We make 3D printed designs for RC cars. Originally English. Spent the last, although I've spent more than half my adult life living in California, so I'm probably more Californian than I am anything else. But my wife's originally from Australia, so after 20 years of us living overseas, we took the opportunity to move back and raise our kids who are just becoming teenagers with a little Australian. There's a great culture down here, great people. It was really good to expose them to that before, they're just not interested and they're going to go do their own thing. So that's kind of, did I cover it? Did I get it?
I think you got it. Yeah.
I think that's a great overview. I think most people on our channel are going to know, be familiar with so much of your design stuff. And, I'm guessing that a large chunk of people have interacted with it, either owning it or bought. You can, a lot of your business model now has been able to grow into allowing people to print your designs themselves,
Yeah.
Which is a major bonus.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. With the boom of home printers and, conversely, of course, the rise in Shapeways costing.
But, kind of went like this.
Which you would have thought
it was supposed to go like this, and
yeah.
It went. So
who would have thought? But
it is really an interesting concept to think that something that they were scaling up and has scaled up dramatically over the years has actually gotten more expensive. It's usually the other way around.
Yeah, it seems like it must have been one of those things that was almost like their pricing structure must have been based off of like a startup company model where they're not interested in making money, just interested in getting market share. But
yes,
that's exactly right. They were scaling early on. And then there was a period, and what happened when everyone saw those prices go crazy? They brought a new CEO in, and his job was basically, okay, guys, we've scaled. Now we've got to make money, and that becomes a balance sheet exercise. So, regardless of the relationships I had with Shapeways at that point, which were very good, it was really they had to somehow flip that balance sheet upside down, and unfortunately, that meant that our prices went crazy, and we had to take a hard look at what we were doing and figure out a different business model, which, started with the metric last year, where we started to make everything we made available on Shapeways for the metric available in my mini factory. And been just pleasantly surprised, really, because a lot of people don't do that. As soon as you do that, you're going to sell one and everyone's going to share it and they're going to steal the IP and you've got no value and you won't be able to make any money doing that. But, I'm sure there's some of that going on, but like with anything digital, that is probably happening. I don't often see it. When I do, I will jump on it. But for the most part, people have been super supportive, buying files, printing files, keeping sharing to a minimum. And we've, it seemed to be working. So we've continued to do it.
That's great, James.
It is good. And it's always nice to see that our community on the whole is an honest bunch, because that is something you have to worry about. You assume that you're going to put that out there and then you're just going to lose it.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'm glad to see that hasn't happened, because having access to a 3D printer myself, it's so faster and so much simpler for me to print it at home and do a little bit more finishing than I would with a Shapeways product. To get it right away. There's a much bigger sense of instant gratification, and I'm more than willing to pay a discounted rate to print it myself.
Yeah, and I'll tell you that for the first, 3 or 4 years of doing Knight Customs, I didn't own a 3D printer, and people would always meet me. They'd go, "So which one do you have?" I'm like, "I don't have one." I'm like, "Well, what? You have all this 3D printed product?" I'm like, "Well, I use Shapeways because I have these big industrial, super high quality printers. And frankly, I was kind of a little scared of the little 3D printer and how reliable it would be and how much time I'd have to do setting it up. And then eventually I had a good friend who used to work at MakerBot, and he said, "Use one of these old Rep 2s. They're like the Toyota of 3D printers, super easy. You can get them cheap." And that was my foray into it. And that's when I started to realize, hey, it takes a little bit to tune it, but once you do it, same thing, Matt. even for me, I could develop the part, I could print it out in a few hours and have it there, and not have to wait for Shapeways to expedite print. And it was still only, it'd take a week. And then I'd see other people get printers. And so it was like, okay, this is really now, you know, and Matt probably, you know, who says the anti 3D printer guy, like, if this is going to destroy, this is about scratch building, you know, Matt probably had a 3D printer before I did.
Yeah, guilty.
That's another tool in the hobby, right?
That's it, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The prices have come down. I know you guys have talked a lot about what printers everyone's using. You know, less than $300 gets you in the game now with a good printer. So it's really been great to see that shift. And I think, as like me, people will start to realize it isn't as scary. It is a little bit teething, but if you can build and run an RC car, you can run a 3D printer. They're not that, it's not that different.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I see it every week. I get requests. What shall I buy? I'm going to buy a printer. And so I give them my normal sort of go-tos based on what I see the community using. And then we start to see people printing the parts, which is great.
You know, and printers I've owned a printer since 2012. I've had one or more printers the entire time, you know, and the difference between the first one that I got and the ones that I have now, as far as the take it out of the box and try and make a print experience. I remember I spent the first, I don't remember, it was multiple days before the first one I got printed a successful part. It was just this, and granted at the time things were, you know, resources were low. It was just not something that was, you know, you didn't have as many people making videos or guides, and, you know, there wasn't that many like common 3D printers. Like right now, I could ask in the chat, who has an Ender 3? And there would be 20 people, I bet, at least, who would say that they do. You know, then it was just like, oh, I have this one, or I built this one from nothing, or it's just,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. The Ender 3 is definitely a reco for me. The 3, the Pro, or the 5 is a great starting point, right? And it really helps. I always said all along is, what's important is that you know someone who has one, or a community that has one, you can ask. So when this is doing this, who do you talk to? And that was for me, my buddy who I work with, working at MakerBot. I knew that if I had a problem, he'd be able to help me. And that just goes so far to get you up and running. So yeah, Ender 3, Creality, right, is the company. Obviously done a great job. And the community's really started to adopt that brand for sure. Yeah,
you know, when I talked Matt, I think I talked Matt into getting one pretty hard.
Yeah, you did.
He got one of the same ones that I had, and you know, it was easy to help kind of go through that part then as well with him. Like
we actually shared a lot back and forth. But it was mostly one-sided. Him helping me.
Yeah. But it's no different than like an RC car, right? You go on the forums, people are like, okay, which one do you get? And it's always, there's so many good choices now, but it helps to know that buy one where there's a community existing already, because when problems come up, you know where to troubleshoot, you know people will help you out. So again, it goes back.
It's exactly like that. It's exactly like RC car. And in the same way, it's like it in the way that, like, even if you don't have that printer, you can see something and go, you probably need to X, or, you know, it's just like the list of things. I think that
now let's not dive too far down the 3D printer home market before we talk about some of the things that are a little more pressing here. I've got a couple of questions about future products, and if you're keen to share on that, we can later. But how many separate platforms are you making parts for?
In terms of RC platforms?
Yeah.
Like try to do kind of all of the main ones, right? So
sure.
It just depends in the scope. So Axial is really where, well, it really started with Tamiya, however you want to say it. I'll say Tamiya. That's how they say it in Japan, and that's how they say it in England. So I'm going with that. That I started there on the SRB Tamiya Sand Scorcher Rough Rider platform, doing the engines and making a whole beach buggy body. That's kind of probably the first one that I started doing, and then the fast attack vehicle platform, doing the SAM rail and the Desert Patrol vehicle, and then I went to Horizon Hobby. It was out. No, it was. What did they buy? Who owned Tower Hobbies before Horizon?
Great Plains. Or Hobbyco.
Yeah, Hobbyco, Great Plains.
I had a great meeting with Hobbyco, just looking at my parts and talking about the industry. And they're like, you should make stuff for the things we own, platforms we own. And they were like, we own Axial. Axial? I'm like, hey, I know Axial, but I haven't got one yet. And they gave me a SCX-10. And then it was game over. Like, it was like big hole, fell in. So STX10, everyone knows early on, did all the 2012 Jeep JK parts, did just so many for that. And then the 10.2 came along, so make a ton of bits for that, the bodies that go with that platform. And then recently the 10.3, a lot of the new, I'm a huge Jeep fan, if anyone have noticed, but also Toyota fan. I've had 2 Tacomas. So I love the JL. That new body is just so good, and I've already done a bunch of parts for that. There'll be more to come. There'll be more parts for that than there were for the JK eventually. Traxxas TRX4. I mean, it used to be, kits didn't come with fenders, inner fenders, and so that was an easy go-to. And I was always surprised, because they're always going to be relatively fragile and expensive, that they were so well adopted. But I think it's great that those come as kit parts now, because they're more durable. And I only made one. No one did,
And it's nice to get that value in the kit, because it does cost so much extra to add those things later.
It doesn't
the cost of printing and things like that. It is nice to see some of those things.
Yeah. So for the TRX4 platform, did a bunch of Defender detail parts. I mean, when Traxxas bought that body out, it had so much great bits on it that I would normally make for an Axial. They really raised the game, but there were still things like door handles missing and snorkel covers missing and windscreen wipers. So I went straight in and picked off those things. Then the Blazer came out, and I did an interior for that, which was one of the first print your own parts. I actually made just the base available on Thingiverse for free, because that was the only. I never did interiors because they were just so expensive to make on Shapeways, and this was before they did the prices. And then after that. So that really was one of the first My Mini Factory. You can get all the parts for the Blazer interior, which I believe also fits the Bronco. Is it the Bronco they came out with, Chevy?
Yeah. Ford Bronco, Chevy Blazer.
Chevy Blazer.
So wrong way around. Sorry.
It's
sorry.
okay. You're a Toyota guy. So
Jeep.
And Jeep. So, yeah.
And Jeep.
But that's Traxxas. And then when Element came out, did some initial things for the Enduro. The new, because I'm a Toyota guy, I'm an IFS fan. I know it doesn't scroll as well, but I just love the fact that it replicates the real world stuff. So, what they did with the new Trail Runner, to me, it was a great canvas to say, hey, okay, it's unlicensed, but it's easy to make this look more like a true Gen 5 4Runner, early model and late model Gen 5. So there's 2 sets of grills and parts out for that people have already sort of adopted, which, there you go. It's the late model Gen 5 half. So you can do the full bumper. So that's Element, Axial, Traxxas. I've done a little bit for Charisma. I know Ivan very well. He's a great dude, been in the RC hobby forever. I was a fan of his stuff before, the Mini Losi was his brainchild, working with Losi back in the day. And we've become friends over the years. So it was fun to do that when they did the Range Rover body, did a bunch of Camel trophy parts for that. And then RC 4-wheel drive, who really do a lot of great scale stuff out of the box. They're really at that top end of hard body and detail. But we've done things to like do the Camel trophy version of the D90 and D110. So all the major stuff, really. People ask me for Red Cat. Red Cat do a great entry level thing, and they already have so much stuff on it. It didn't seem like there was really added much value there. And then, of course, I can't believe I've left it out. Sorry, Josh. Vanquish.
Yeah. There was a couple of things done for Vanquish.
Yeah, that was a great project. You know, that was the first time I got my brand on a box, which was a huge deal. So thanks to Josh and James and Steve at Vanquish for giving me the opportunity to help work with Brandon early on.
Don't thank Josh, because he had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, he was saying, "Don't do it, man. Don't do it."
I'm just the face. No, for some people not have. We do have James's logo on the VS410 box, the Limited, the Pro, and the Ultra, and that's because that we did work with James from the start and James did the design of the interior base, and then with the idea that he would be able to also make the option parts that he did, like the door panels or dash pieces, the roll bars. And that was because we worked right with James from the start to see if he wanted to tackle that chunk of it. Just because it's nice to work with people. It's a small industry, and we're friends with people, and we like to build that relationship out together. And it was a fun opportunity to do that.
I'm not sure why my logo's on the box, though.
Yeah, I know. That one was that. You're right. That is one I did fight against. No.
Yeah,
I didn't put
I
didn't put my logo anywhere on there, but we put
because
Matt's.
It's not Harley approved.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it's also it really helps me. Anytime I can and get an early look at what manufacturers are doing, even if it's just a look, which in some cases that's all it's allowed to be, which is fine. Because I think the community, doesn't matter what it is, nothing stays stock. Everyone wants to make it their own, do something with it, even if it's just little things like put snorkel covers on something. So that's really what I focus on is as manufacturers get more and more scale out of the box, it doesn't mean there isn't opportunity to customize stuff, which is hence the name, Knight Customs.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that I'm always really surprised about with you, James, is that when I get one of these RTRs or models in and I look at it and I go, well, it's pretty much got everything that I think I would add to a truck. You come out with half a dozen things that I didn't even think of.
Yeah.
It is cool to see all those things come about. The SCX 10.3 was a good example of that. Like that truck really, all of the extra details and plastic parts that thing comes. I mean, I don't know. I didn't put any of it together. I sent it to Suits. He put it all together. But it came out of the box and it looked so good.
Oh, Josh.
But other than then, you see all these other things that you can get. Like,
for those of us who did put it together, he did come up with a lot of really, really great stuff. One of the things I really like are the new fenders, so the fender replacements, the sort of the tube style fenders. I printed mine in flexible TPU, so they actually do conform around objects, which make them even more useful, especially on a truck that's going to go through some tight spaces. But yeah, he's really done some cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, I learned a trick I went to design school traditionally, and a lot of the people I graduated with ended up in the car industry. And I remember having a chat with a guy who was sharing a Honda case study about the Honda Civic. And Honda were like in tune with what was going on with the tuner community, and they saw that everyone in the tuner community was going with clear rear lights. So they're like, we're gonna make a better Honda. We're gonna do clear rear lights. They bring out a Honda with clear rear lights, and all the tuner guys ended up switching back to red. The insight was the tuner guys just want whatever's not stock.
Right.
So do the opposite. So the JL was a great example, right? Because you remember the 2012. It had the aftermarket fenders, and everyone was always asking for the stock fenders.
Right.
We'll bring out the stock fender. Everyone wants the aftermarket fender. It's just the same.
You cannot win.
Yeah.
But it's a great model for your business, so that's excellent.
Yeah, that's.
I'm going back a little bit in time here to the Tamiya stuff. That's I think when I first kind of caught sight of what you were doing, and I first saw you in RC car action. Right. You had like a centerfold basically on the buggy, the SRB sand buggy or
beach buggy,
sort of beach buggy thing that you did, and then I saw you again with the FAV. It seemed to me at that time you had a pretty close relationship with the magazine too. Is that something that you think helped kind of propel you, or was it something that you saw as a partnership?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, ended up turning into, I think I actually ended up writing for RC Car Action for 2 years, which was, as a kid, it was terrible at writing at school and always got a C or a D in English. I'm like, I'm writing for a magazine? How does that work? But what happened, it was being in the right place at the right time. I was on Tamiya Club a lot and found Scale Builders Guild. So I'd started to kind of be out there in the community, building, customizing stuff. And then when I did the beach buggy, it was sort of a project that was a whole 3D printed buggy. It kind of was, it was a classic buggy. And so it got a lot of attention. And Peter from RC Car Action just saw it and said, hey, could we do something more on that? And so that got got lots of feature in the mag. And I had a couple of things in Reader's Rights before that, the old, but nothing like this. And I think it's just because it was interesting. It's 3D printing and it was a custom project and quite scale. So it was something they felt they could write a good article about. And then it really sort of showed this we talked about, you could buy it on Shapeways. This just wasn't just a one-off Reader's Ride kit that only I had. You could go build your own. And so that kind of did definitely start that wheel rolling. Ended up getting Reader's Ride of the Year with the FAV and ended up writing a bunch of different articles. And kind of scale was starting to build then. So I did, how to put a driver figure in was I think my first article with them. As we know, pick the right size, make sure he sits in the seat, make sure he's holding the steering wheel. All the basics.
I remember that article because you used a Wraith, right?
That's right, Wraith interior, great interior.
Right. Extending the steering wheel back to where it needed to be and doing all that. Yeah, I hated that article.
I'll never forget the photo of you too, because I think it seems like it's sort of like it's mandatory for everybody who gets a feature in RC Car Action to do some sort of weird pose. I'm pretty sure yours was like.
Yeah, that's the.
Yeah. Well, it was a lot of pressure because the photographer said, come meet me at OCRC. And I went down there and I turned up to, which is if anyone knows in SoCal, OCRC is like a hardcore, legitimate race circuit, right? Everyone there's got latest state-of-the-art sponsored team associated driver guys. And I rock in with this scale model of a Tamiya fast attack vehicle from 50 years ago, whatever it was.
Printed out of this funny plastic glue gun thing. Like, don't touch it too hard.
Don't get too close to it.
It honestly
you can't don't leave it in the sun for too long.
Yeah, don't leave it in the sun too long, and it's just be careful. Like,
yeah. So that and the photographer ended up. I very quickly found out was an professional skateboarder, and back in the day I was a big skateboarder, so there was a lot of pressure to look cool, and he had all the kit. And I'm like, all right, I gotta do something. So we did the whole like random stuff, and he actually did a phenomenal job making me look cool. I'm not that cool, but that was all Carl.
Well, yeah. That's a good little history lesson for everybody. People used to read magazines.
Yes.
It was like an iPad, but you didn't do this. You did this.
And it was always the same.
Yeah. You could cut out the pictures and put them on your wall, which you can't do with an iPad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's just to recap, couple been in the chat. Right now, the places that to find your files, James.
Yeah.
So Shapeways, you can buy prints pre-done.
Yep.
Or if you're logged in, you have some prints that you can download a version of through there, correct?
Just a couple. That's what we experimented with that. So the Ford Bronco interior for the Traxxas TRX4, you can download the base for free.
Okay, and that's I knew there wasn't a lot of that on there. So you can download some of that on there. You got to be logged in and on a PC. And then
correct.
You can log into it on a Mac, but
a desktop or
a desktop
of some sort.
computer.
Yes. Yeah, not on a phone.
And then Mini Factory seems to be one of your new or your other big outlets now that's available.
Yeah, it's quickly growing. We've got over 400 individual parts on Shapeways, and we're very quickly getting up to that on My Mini Factory. So probably the end of this year will be almost the same amount of parts, if not more, because some parts we just won't put on Shapeways now. They're too big. We actually took a lot of parts off the infamous rooftop tent.
Ah.
Matt
I just painted mine the other day.
Matt has the cheap one. I have the I think $120 paperweight.
Oh.
Oof. Crazy.
Yeah.
So,
but this is so nicely detailed, and I mean, I think I spent 40 hours printing it, but when you print it at the fine detail, you get some really nice detail in there, and this is a really cool piece. Just because it's it's hollow and it looks really good once you detail it and paint it. Josh, you wouldn't know anything about this, but
no, I don't understand.
You've even got some wet effects in there, so it looks like it's all shiny from being moist. But yeah, anyway, really cool piece. Definitely one of the larger ones on My Mini Factory. Will definitely spice up any interior or exterior. I mean,
so with the boom of that, it makes all kinds of sense for the My Mini Factory stuff, and all the pricing that you have on there is super reasonable. I mean, like some of that stuff's like what, $1, $2, like $5 for $25 for these huge bundles of parts that would have cost you like $800 to have done at Shapeways.
Exactly. I mean, James and I are pretty good friends, so every once in a while he throws me a bone and gets me a free file. But I go on there routinely and buy them because I want them so badly, and it's just easier for me to just click a few buttons and buy them and start printing.
Yeah, look, I think we learned a lot in the sort of digital revolution of music, which sort of credit to Apple to say, if you make it cheap enough, people would rather buy it than steal it. And if you think about, how and I have to go on torrent and do a thing, but if it's $1, come on, you just. So we sort of took that approach with, make it cheap enough so if people feel more like it's a Patreon and donating a little bit of money to James to say thanks, versus, if you hired a professional to design those Pelican cases, you'd be in thousands of dollars, right? And I'm obviously not going to charge people that,
right?
So, and then we bundle pack, which people always wanted on Shapeways. It's so hard to say, well, I want everything you make for the metric, and I got to click on all these individual things because Shapeways don't let you bundle. But with My Mini Factory, I can do that metric part set, and we can make it $20, and you got it all in one go. But if you just want the individual parts, you can do that too, which is a huge, and they manage the website. So again, I can focus on my designing. And they keep it up and running and everything working, so that's great.
Yeah, it's a nice little platform. It's cool to see that 3D printing anymore, like we went over previously, hugely available to people now, and it seemed like it goes hand in hand with our market especially. So
yes,
just all the best things. Now you had talked about a little bit the relationship that you had with Shapeways before. Like that was like you weren't just another like I have a Shapeways store that I had, like I have some random stuff on, or I was making a lot of some GoPro stuff before that did really well for me for a while. But it's just like I've never talked to a person at Shapeways. Like you had an actual relationship with them because you're how was that, and where does that
big
stand?
Time.
Right, exactly.
So, I was just on Shapeways doing my thing and taking advantage of the platform because I just saw it as a great way to share my stuff. And I got an email basically from one of their, I guess they had what they called at the time business managers. So, it was just business development manager called me up and said, hey, we want to talk to you about what you're doing. You seem to be selling a lot of stuff, because obviously they'll get some sort of report of what's selling on their website they're looking at monthly, and my name kept coming up, I guess. So they reached out to me and said, hey, we have these business development people, and they'll work with you. And basically the relationship is, tell us what we can do better at, and we'll listen and we'll try and help you and do those things. So a lot of the classification of RC as a category and the listing of brands. So if you want to go and find what they make for Element or Axial, you can see everything. So a lot of the searchable stuff, I was able to give a lot of input to those sort of things. And, then they helped me set up when I got to, we don't do it now, but because of the pricing, but early on we were starting to explore doing, fulfilling with retailers. And so they really helped me there, figure out how we would do that and set that up. So, it was Corey at RPP who, it was actually, sadly, just before he had his accident, for those that know Corey, had come to me at Axelfest and says, can I start stocking your parts? So we worked with Shapeways to figure out how that actually worked, how Corey could make an order and we could get him, a large box of stuff. And that evolved. And then Mayhem came on board. And so they were really instrumental in helping me do that. Obviously, all that changed when the new CEO came in, because although when Shapeways came to me, they said, we looked at all these individual RC guys, and individually they weren't doing much. But if we looked at it as a group, all the RC guys on Shapeways was their, I think, second biggest category after, can't remember what it was, medical devices or some big important thing. And they put that attention on it. But I think that they're now shifting more from the community. They still support it, but it's much more now. I think they're changing their model, but they're also trying to recoup some of that early investment. So the prices still may come down. The new multi-jet fusion, the HP printers, which are phenomenal. But if you get gray parts from me, those are printed in multi-jet. Some of the best detailed nylon parts, the structure's a little different because the way they print, the durability is a bit better. Those parts now initially were very expensive. They're now the same or cheaper than the SLS nylon parts, which were the old nylon print technology. So there's still an evolution going in Shapeways. I'm not giving up on them. I just have to change my model because of where we're currently at, and it doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah. It's a shame, though, that they've gone away from the hobbyist and the builder and the maker and gone for a larger, I don't know, more professional market, I guess. But they had all kinds of people in place, even from a marketing perspective, who would reach out to makers. And, even I had a relationship with somebody there that was all about pushing our content and making us part of the sort of the lexicon of that company. And all that went away. Everybody got let go from that division, and it just became much more business. And that's really unfortunate, because hobbyists and enthusiasts are often the ones who are making the early investments to push a hobby or a genre like that forward. And the less you rely on those people, the less you're going to get reliable data about who's actually using your product.
And look, we did look at other options, because people always say, why don't you go with a different, there's plenty of 3D printing companies, but Shapeways truly have this phenomenal platform to share and to find and to buy, and they supply. And if the part doesn't arrive or it turns up late, they'll still print you a new one. Their customer service is great. Their quality is phenomenal. So it still has its place for sure. And hopefully over time, we'll sort of see that cost come down. It went up, but it will come. It will eventually get there, I hope.
Right, and for a lot of people who don't understand like how Shapeways works, so if I or James or somebody like that uploads a file onto Shapeways, Shapeways tells us the cost of the part, and then we have the ability to add our markup percentage, like what we feel like we want to make per piece. And I think what can happen with these price jumps is that it can still be somewhat affordable for people to put parts up there for sale, but to base a business around it, you need to get a certain return off of everything. And unless you're just wanting to make, $1 or $2 off of a simple part, like, well, you might think you're not doing it, now they do all the work. But, one of the good questions that just popped up was, how long does it take you start to finish on a project? And I think for James, so it's like, you got to take that and figure out like how many you think you're going to sell, and then
what's your hourly rate?
What do you think you're going to want to make off of it? So, but I think that it turns into a good question, for James, like one of your projects right now, what do you think your time frame is on it? I know it depends on how complicated something is, as always, but
yes, I think it's a great question. I think I always make sure all our social media is sort of company messaging, so it's always we, right? We think this, we do that, because it sort of talks to the fact that it's not me trying to sound more important, but Knight Customs is a culmination of a number of different businesses and individuals and things like Shapeways and My Mini Factory I don't. But it really, at the end of the day, that all the development and marketing and is me. It's just me. There is no company. There's no office. There's no, when we go to Axel Fest, it's me, my wife, and a buddy I might have roped into it to do it for free. Which is one new body every year because everyone knows how that goes.
Yeah, I'm not doing that next year. Nope.
But it really is my spare time. I have a very demanding day job. I'm very fortunate to have a very good job. I work in the toy industry. I make toys for children. I also have to specify that.
You're not in the adult toy business.
Right. Well, when you're in California, especially when you lived in the Valley, people ask you what you did because you made toys. There was a fine line there for for kids. So it's my hobby. It's a passion of mine. I was professional. I've always been a maker and a creator. I was professionally designed as trained as a product developer, designer. But as I got more in my day job, it's much more about management, budgets, spreadsheets, people. It's much less about creating. RC, I've been an RC fan, much like Matt. First Tamiya at 9 or whatever it was, fell in love in a hobby store, and it's been a lifelong passion and love affair / addiction. So it's all in my spare time, but it's also how I relax, which is the great thing about it. I think it's very unusual to have something where it relaxes me. I get to give back to the community. I get so much out of it, and it helps continue to fund. The money I make just basically goes back into making new projects, doing new things, bringing more stuff to events like Axel Fest, giving away more prizes. So it kind of fuels itself. It's a business that pays for my hobby. It's probably the best way I look at it.
Yeah, that's not easy to do, especially with the amount of time that as many parts as you have and trying to continue to make things that's real jobs take up time. And we all know that we have to make sure that those have to come first, because it's hard to trade RC parts for rent or mortgage or
Yeah, they don't usually take that at the bank.
Yeah,
I've got this really nice toy truck.
Yeah, like how about I TIG weld you up something real nice.
Right. So for me, a part can take a weekend, which is what I love about 3D printing, because you can't do that in the toy industry with the regulations and the testing and the global supply chain. Nothing takes a weekend, months, right? I know you've talked a lot about Rich and the development cycle on a real RC car, but when you're doing parts for 3D printing, the development cycles can be really fast. I've got up on a Saturday, I've had an idea for a part, I've developed it, I've printed it out, I've fitted it, and I said, this is great. I've uploaded it to Shapeways, and you can buy it Sunday morning. It's been that fast. It's also been, the metric interior has taken me 2 years, and it's still not done. Because
I could really use that interior. So
yeah, you don't want to see my list. I've got a list of all the projects I've had an idea for, have been requested, and it evolves, and things will pop to the top and things will get pushed to the bottom, and some things just sit in the middle. So I try and be transparent. I try not to promise things, but again, because it's a hobby, it's I get there when I get there. Unless it's a specific relationship with a company and we're agreed that I'll provide something for a date, that's when the business has to kick in, and it has to be, you're going to ship a thing and I'm going to agree to have parts ready X number of weeks after that to support you. Obviously do that. That is on a time. And those are the things that tend to bump the other stuff down.
Right. I just had a great question pop up here is, how hard is it to get licensing from, a company you want to work with? And then, do you have varying degrees of cooperation as far as like possibly CAD models or photos, or some of them are just like, knock yourself out, put our name on it, don't call us again?
Yeah, it's all of the above. I mean, I have to credit Axial, Scott G, Jeff Johns, Rodney Wills. They came to me at Axel Fest and said, hey, we see what you're doing. We'd love to figure out how we partner with you. How about we help you, introduce you to some of the people in the industry that we can't make parts for, but you could. And so just it really is a huge kudos to those three guys, especially Scott G, because he kind of was my mentor. And many people don't know Scott, if you know Scott, you know Scott. He's an awesome guy.
Yeah.
And he really helped introduce me to a lot of these companies initially. And I've got some funny stories for another time about how some of those meetings went. Me rolling in with a cardboard box, and they're like, "Who's this guy?" But that was the.
I want to make your thing, but I want to make it this big.
Yeah, and you know, in the forming those, a lot of it's partnership, it's relationships. It's hey, you know, it's I will represent your brand and promote and make quality parts for your brand and give you, you know, there's some financial commitment in many cases to be able to do it. And some of them just trust you, and other people are a little bit more, well, we need to see what you're doing, and et cetera, et cetera. So everyone is different. Again, it started with Axial helping me with the first one, which was with Smittyville. But then it sort of builds, because then you've got, oh, this is what I'm doing with this company. And so you kind of get more credibility, and people trust you more, and it opens more doors. So, you know, the latest one we signed, not quite the latest, but one of the recent ones we signed was with Pelican, which is obviously huge, because that's a very, as everyone knows, a legitimate carry case company. Matt just held up. That took a lot longer to get done. There were a lot more, there were serious lawyers involved and lots of backwards and forwards on the contract. But that allowed us to do, you know, officially licensed Pelican cases that you can now get from Shapeways, but they're ridiculously expensive. But they're, you know, very cheap and very easy to print from my manufacturing.
Yeah, these are printed at home. I, you know, obviously did some detail work and some finishing, but that is the file that you get. It's a set of 3, and I rescaled this. Sorry, James, I had to scale it.
That's the best thing about it.
Yeah.
Because we do 110, and with Matt will tell you, some things are 1.9.
Most things are 1.9.
But my manufacturer lets you download that part, and in your slicer software, you can just move it to the exact scale if you want to do the math, or just to make it fit. I do have a sneak peek if anyone's interested.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
Anytime.
DeMello is the latest licensor that we've partnered with. And this is the first prototype that isn't been shared yet. This is for the Element RC chassis, aero chassis for their IFS, and it makes up perfectly to the Trail Runner. So DeMello do these overland style. You can know the D and the O is their kind of trademark.
Yeah.
And Jason from DeMello, you know, he again reached out to me, saw what we were doing. It's always great when they're into RC, because they want, we want a part for our RC car. Hey, you're the guy that makes it, right? So that helps. And we got
hold it up nice and close to the camera there, James. Get really tight there. There you go.
It's a quick FDM print on my old MakerBot Toyota Rep 2, and but this is where we start. So we'll do the CAD. I'll do the CAD super quick, and then I'll do a quick print. And this is a great example of, you know, I've got like a desk full of prints. So this all look good in CAD, and everything seemed to fit, but I don't always have all the CAD. So until you print it out and put it on the actual model, you don't know. So these are too short. I need to extend them. We'll go back and do a bunch of different changes to this, and then it'll be ready in my manufacturing Shapeways shortly. But we're pretty close.
That looks amazing. That's going to be a fun one.
And we'll have one for the Trail Runner, one for the Proline metric body. You know, DeMello really focused on the Toyota community and a lot of the overland stuff. So if it's overland, you know, inspired, we'll have something that will fit to one of those variants.
Yeah, that, you know, that whole scene as well is obviously trickling into the overlanding scenes, trickling into ours pretty heavily, and we're seeing a lot of
big time.
You know, a lot of the, obviously with as many rooftop tent models as we see, you know, around here in Northern California, I think I see
everybody's got one.
You have to drive around with your rooftop tent on at all times. Like, that's the rule.
Yeah, of course. I think most people don't want to take it off the truck because there's nowhere for them to put it.
I honestly think that James could make more money yet making a fake 3D printed full-size rooftop tent that's just lighter but looks exactly like one, and selling it for real car. Like, if I could just have the look of it without having to like have all that weight up there.
Oh man, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Sawyer Goulet here, he asked where he can download files for printing. It's myminifactory.com. That's the site where James hosts a lot of the downloadable files.
And I think Matt and I will both. We'll put links.
We'll put the link in the description.
Yeah.
And if you're on my Instagram account, you can click in our bio. There's the web link. It goes to my mini factory.
And that's at Knight Customs.
Yeah, it's not Knight's Custom.
No.
Yeah, there's the number of times that I've said Knights instead of Knight, and
I correct you every time.
Every time.
In hindsight, we could have named the company different.
How did you come up with the name?
Yeah. What's my name? What do we do?
Yeah. Done.
Done. Finished.
Yeah. Have you now with the do you see the resin printer side of the hobby? Do you see it growing like FDM, or do you have any plans to maybe look at that? Because with resin printers, the insanely high detail stuff becomes more possible.
Yeah,
But it's a whole. Resin printing is a little bit of a different game than FDM. A little messier, a little more work, things like that. But where do you see that going?
Yeah, so I've got actually a little, because for people that I think you last week sort of broke it down. I've got 3 parts here. These are exactly the same part. This is a slightly different design, but the same part. If you can see those, okay. I'm not sure if those are coming through, but this one is an SLL nylon print. This is what you get from Shapeways. Until very recently, always printed in white nylon and then dyed the color you order, black, red, whatever, right? So that's on a $250,000 industrial printer. That's why I don't have one. This is a FDM. This is the coil of this is done in a dust. It's a nylon dust that's glued together layer by layer with a fused with a laser or a bonding agent. This one's FDM, fused metal deposition, deposition.
Fused deposition modeling.
Thank you. So this is your at-home hobby printer with your coil of filament, right? And you can kind of see here versus this is a resin print, which is done on actually a $200 resin printer. The level of detail and cleanup and filling and sanding you need to do on this to get it to this is a lot of work. You can totally do it. That's what most people do. So the detail is second to none on resin. I think you guys talked about that last week. But depending on the materials used, typically these are very fragile,
right?
Very brittle. Like you hit a rock, they'll shatter, they'll break, right? So we always print in nylon. This is the best balance of durability and detail. This is great for at home. These can be very durable, but you've got a lot of finishing. This is really it's also, I think Matt, you talked or Josh, you talked about it. It's really where 3D printing started, was resin, SLA,
right?
The initial technology.
Toy soldiers, remember? You remember that movie?
Yeah. That's the coming out of the thing.
Yeah.
But it's basically you take a liquid, you hit it with a laser layer by layer, and it solidifies, and you do that until you've got like this object. The resins are brittle now. And also the process is you do that, then you have to let it dry, then you have to stick it in a cleaning fluid, then you have to UV cure it, and it's like a 3-step process, and it's messy, it's smelly, can be more carcinogenic, so there's health issues if you're not doing it correctly.
And you have to, all the support, there's still support materials, and you need to like kind of leaves a bumpy...
little dots. Now you can customize the support, but yes, it still has some cleanup for sure.
Right.
Now, Formlabs are really doing a great job innovating. They did the first kind of good at-home print. It was $2,500.
Right.
But
we have a Form too.
Yeah, great printer. They've also really started doing a good job pioneering more durable resins. So they now have engineering resins that have they're not as brittle. They really started to push that to try and make it more usable material. But at the end of the day, if you want super detailed parts, Shapeways, we use resin printers from Shapeways for like the lenses, some of the small handles, things that we feel like you can only do it in resin. or hopefully it's out of the way. Lenses tend to crack, but it's sometimes the only way to do it.
Right.
I now have an at-home resin printer. The costs have come down. It's fun to experiment with. It's that next level. I would say FDM is where you start.
Mm-hmm.
Resin is probably now next on your list. The one we use is a $200 one. Creality do one for, I think, $300. The same people do that for $3. Again, reputable, good company. So I see it becoming more people getting into it and probably having the FDM and then the resin next to them.
Yeah. The resin is a great second or third printer.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to be your primary printer.
If you're like, unless you're someone who's not maybe an RC person as much, and you're more of a modeler or like a figurine person, like
or like Warhammer or that sort of thing. It's don't look at me like I'm crazy.
I have no idea what you're talking about. No.
Detail is just awesome.
Yeah, it really is. It can be incredible. Like some of the finest thing, and it looks almost like it's insanely hard to see some of the lines even sometimes.
Yeah.
Even on like the less fine settings.
Right.
And the costs just keep coming down. They're really becoming
the print bed
impressive.
is a lot smaller too, though, isn't
it? Typically, yeah.
Yeah.
But like if you're wanting to do interior detail parts or things like that,
like Scale Built, for example.
Scale Built on Instagram. He does, a lot of like
he's doing some stuff.
Detail stuff, things like that. You can really get, you can make little switches that look like little switches perfectly.
Toggle switches and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. And so now I had seen this question pop up before, but I want bringing it back. James, like for your parts the files you sell on My Mini Factory, do you have recommendations on what people should be printing with, or do you just kind of leave that up to them? Do you say PLA or PLA Plus or PETG, ABS? Like, do you make recommendations like that to people?
No, we haven't. There is an area where you can. I think PLA is normally the go-to. So we try and design everything so it could be printed in PLA. It's the easiest to print, as you guys know. Don't need a heated bed. Ventilation is fine. It's not toxic. It's actually biodegradable. It's an awesome material, but you can't leave it out in direct sunlight, like Matt talked about. Leave it in the back of the car, it will melt. There's plenty of horror stories. People have had melted fenders. So, I think, is it PTEG is the next sort of one on the list?
Yeah, PETG is a little bit, prints a little hotter. It's got a little flex to it, but it's not quite as. It's actually like at some of the strength tests, it shows that it's not quite as strong, but it also has like more flexibility, so it kind of acts like it's a little stronger sometimes. I've had good luck with it. I like PETG. Generally, most all my printers are loaded with PLA. Like,
same.
Generally, I keep it unless I need something different. If I want to do TPU and fight that, I've never had great. Matt's done some beautiful prints with
TPU is amazing.
I've had poor luck with it. But it's something that I should tune in more, because the ability to print flexible parts it's like a whole nother thing you can do that you have so many applications for.
Yeah, I think Todd Norton did a great job mixing up resins on his SLA printer to come up with flexible fenders. And that's like factory quality. I'll say that every printer probably has a default setting, and that's where you should start. And the number of steps and the cooling time and the hot nozzle, the temperature of the nozzle, it's also dependent. It's kind of like which is the best scale tire, right?
Dude. Yeah. So you can play with those settings forever.
Yeah.
This is PETG that I sanded, so it's not a great example like right out of the printer. You can still see some of the fine line work, but it is a very strong print. Mm-hmm. And it is like it's completely hollow on the inside, so it holds up pretty well. But TPU is what I did these fenders in, and they're totally flexible, but they will hold up. Like you cannot tear it for the life of you. They will take pretty much any abuse you throw at it. It's a really incredible material. And then these running boards, which are Jame Knight, those are PETG as well.
Yeah. And we had a guy, I try and stay as much as I can across social media and see, it's great when people post and you can see the issues they're having. I think someone did those rock sliders in PEG, blanket PLA, and obviously they snapped literally as soon as they got to a rock. You got to think about the material for the application, and we kind of recommend PTEG for that, or ideally a nylon. So you just got to look at where you're going to use this part and what do you expect. So we always say, we design for scale trailing. If people joke, I'm a big baby on my rigs.
Yeah,
but I'm more like a scale model.
My scale trailing and James's scale trailing. You should have seen.
James and I are more in tune with each other on this one. When we did that Camel Trophy run at Proline, we intentionally drove as slow as possible because there were so many parts on there that were one-offs, and we didn't want to break anything. So
I fell asleep before you guys started on that, and I woke back up, and you guys still hadn't really started.
Still on it,
we're
still going.
Oh, we're almost to that first thing.
That's the thing that you have to remember, is that printing, no matter how good a print it is, it's not going to be the same thing as an injection molded, plastic part that you get off a tree. It's just not the same material. It's not the same manufacturing technique, and it doesn't have the same properties. So, there is a bit of fragility that goes along with this, but I think it just makes you a better driver.
I mean, we'll see. I don't know about all of that, but so like personally, I don't like to use 3D printed stuff in like structural areas unless it's just like I don't have much else of an. A lot of people say I can get by with it. I drive pretty hard, so I don't like to carry a truck back. So I want it to. So I use certain things in different areas, and there's, so many materials have come a long ways in 3D printing now, and I'll give them that. The nylon X, or, the carbon infused, or all of those things. There is really some cool filaments that are available now. But you're always going to have some layer bonding traits. You almost have a grain to your part. Everything has a point. The material itself can be very strong, but maybe layer bonding can. So it is and again, everyone's going to have their preference one way or the other. So that was why I kind of wondered about how you put that out there when you do yours, James.
Yeah. No, we definitely we've learned that sort of design for use thing. The snorkels were a great example of. We started with high detail in resin prints early on, and I sort of joked the first time I took it out, it snapped looking at a rock. It didn't even touch the rock. It just. And my buddies thought that was hilarious, like nice snorkel, right? And it sort of started to pop. And then we progressed to making it with a flexible top. We used a fuel line, so if it looked at a rock, it would bend, but it was still resin. And then we figured out that you could actually, if you just did the whole thing solid in nylon, actually became super durable. And we ran that initial design, we tested it in the fixed enduro, which is 12 hours. And obviously, if you've ever done one of those, you can't baby a rig. You just start falling asleep and smashing into everything. And we found actually those snorkel designs in nylon from Shapeways, incredibly durable if they're solid all the way through. So you're learning kind of that material, this design, that wall thickness, you get this level of durability.
And for you, or for any customer really, it's always, Shapeways there's a pretty big time between order and receiving. So, especially I guess at the beginning when you didn't have a printer, like that has to really make a timeline expand out of your control. I can only imagine how many projects you have to work on at a time to keep things moving consistently.
Right? Yeah, well, I've always got like 5 things on the bench like most of us, so that helps. We just roll through. But that's the other thing they've definitely changed since the new ownership is, previously I could design a part and get it back within a 1 week wait time. I was in California, expedited shipping, expedited processing time. That was all benefit of, the previous relationship.
Right.
As a company, and it was things like that, not necessarily, dollars exchange or anything like that, but more those sort of services were great. But even now, with one of the things they've done with the price changes, they've also, expanded the time it takes for you to get something. So including myself, you could get it within a week. Now its standard time is 3 weeks. And if you pay, maybe get it extra. So they kind of, they looked at everywhere they could, slow things down to make it cheaper for them to manufacture. And then if you want it, they'll charge you more. So they again, that's the things they felt they needed to do to readjust their balance sheet. But things got slower and they got more expensive. And they got more expensive if you want them quicker. So again, it's great if you want the premium part, you've got the money to spend, and you're okay waiting a little bit to get it.
Yeah, that's usually, it's usually what, cheap, fast, and
cheap, fast, good
quality. So that one,
cheap,
that
fast,
one
good.
you only get that's a one-legged stool.
You get cheap. No, you don't get cheap.
You get
good.
Quality.
You get good.
Yeah,
you get good. That's
and cheap and fast. They'll do an expedited manufacturing and an expedited shipping. But you add all those things up. If you've got anything other
expedited
than the
shipping doesn't count when it takes 2.5 weeks to get it printed.
No, it's not. That's not faster.
Yeah.
Wes Braswell had a question. He said that he's seen some desktop injection molding machines.
Yes.
And do we think that that's somewhere the market will go? Is that something that, James, you might have a hand in adding to your repertoire in the future?
Yeah, because of the industry I work in, I'm pretty up to speed with a lot of the injection molding technologies. And when I first heard desktop injection molding machine, I was like, wait, what? And then Form Labs did a tutorial, right? Like how to make 3D printed tools for desktop injection molding machines.
Right.
And I was like all over that. Signed up, watched the webcast, and about 5 minutes in, I'm like, wait a minute. There's like a hand injection pump thing, and if you get it right, maybe you can get 30 parts. So there may be more innovations in that area, but there are plenty of companies that if I want to take apart and do a 3D printed tool to get the investment down and do smaller runs, say 20, 30, 200, there are companies in the US that will do that for you. But I'm just honestly too busy making new parts to look at old parts and say this part's proven out, but we should even take the time, invest the time to make it more sort of mass manufacture or batch production. So we haven't really done much in that space, to be honest with you. And I think So we focus more on variety of parts and making it easy for you to print yourself than getting you a part cheaper.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's I've looked at them as well, and I think there's actually some, like you're talking with the hand. There's actually one I think that I've seen kind of floating around Kickstarter now. It's actually like kind of a enclosed, computerized. Oh wow, that person that just walked behind you scared the. I don't know why. Like it's just like.
Hi, Kat. Nice to see you, by the way.
Yeah.
Haven't seen her in
That's the boss.
years.
Yeah.
Ha. Just that, but like just that ghost moving in the back of it. Yeah. What was I? Anyway, that desktop 3D printing or injection, I completely lost where I was going. I give up.
It continues. See it on Kickstarter all the time. There's more and more at-home manufacturing, CNCs, laser cutters, all this stuff. We could become a manufacturer and a developer. I've sort of focused on the time I have and focused on development. It's something I've definitely thought about, but really to be a developer and a manufacturer, I'd have to be all in. And for me, that's just not where I want to spend my time. So, partnering with manufacturers, that's their core field, and either, helping develop parts for them or working with them so I can develop parts for the stuff they mass manufacture is where I spend my time.
Yeah, that's
the right thing to do, I think.
And it's a whole different business model. You have to really. Yeah. I just picked myself up a new CNC machine for home because I feel like that's something I need again. I had one before. I had a desktop CNC mill before, and decided to pick up another one. Now I left the other one in Missouri. I didn't bring it out, but now I went with one that's more along the lines of like a CNC router. But kind of like a beefed up version. And so the ability that we do have to pick these things up now is, you know,
He came out on his own.
you can get so much for so little in comparison to before.
Yeah.
If I made all the money on YouTube like today, you know, it was so much so that I just needed to quit my job. I think I would just have myself a full line of personal CNCs and printers and I wouldn't make anything for anything but my projects. I'd have
You wouldn't make any money either because
Exactly.
it'd be Josh branded.
Well, that's
all right.
yeah.
And it'd have to work rather than just, you know, look like
good.
something.
Yeah.
You never came and visit us, have you, James? Even when you didn't
I made
live 9,000 miles away.
No, it just got worse. Yeah. I will be coming back to California. My day job, you know, I do run a part of my job involves running a team that's in the US, in California. So the expectation was I'd be able to get back 2 or 3 times a year, and have to be in California for work. So I'd be able to time that to events and so forth. But with COVID and everything else, it's just not.
Yeah, it shuts it all down.
Short term, yeah.
You'll be back eventually, though, like we all will be.
Right.
Yes.
Another question here from Bob A. Any thoughts on carbon fiber infused filament?
I mean, it's great if you've got a printer that can do it. What is that? Fuse?
It's not every printer, right? It's very specific models.
I think.
Yeah, there's some filament that is, you know, like carbon infused. You know, and if you have like, you know, you need a hardened steel nozzle and some things like that, and you can run it through most printers. But then there is like the Mark Forge, which is like a continuous carbon fiber, you know, through the filament. Like the filament itself is produced in a different way, not with fiber strands, but with for like a lot of people who don't know, if like on an RC car, there's usually a couple of different types of, well, that's generalizing. In injection molded parts in a kit, you'll usually have glass filled nylon parts, and then you'll have just standard, you know, it can be nylon or it could be, you know, a styrene, like the molded axial heads. Those are a styrene mold, and something like an A-arm on a buggy or something like that is going to be a glass filled nylon. So some of like the carbon stranded filaments in normal printers are supposed to kind of give you that effect. Some extra strength, but it's not exactly the same when everything's not flowing.
No, when it's FDM, it's always going to be strands that have been printed on top of one another, and you're never going to get the same strength as an actual injection molded part. So it's probably not worth your while.
Yeah, and again, it depends. If you have that printer built for that, they're definitely printing phenomenally good parts that are substantially stronger than your average printer.
Yeah.
So again,
that Mark Forge is a really nice print, but I think it's somewhere around that like $15,000 mark.
Yeah, it is.
For an FDM printer, it's quite expensive.
I think someone I know either has one or was going to get one or has a first gen one. They are really nice printers.
Yeah, there's some parts that there's a couple in the RC world, and you know, you can buy some parts off that, but you know, it's like one
again
of those areas
for most enthusiasts, you don't really need to spend that money.
No, I would agree.
Yeah.
So,
have you got any questions on your side, Josh? And I know, James. I know you've got some time limitations, so we don't want to keep you too long.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
I got some fun stuff to share. But go on.
Yes. I mean, I guess the biggest question is, have you seen the movie Flying Cars?
But of course.
Yes.
Yay! Have you really? You watched it?
Oh yeah. With my wife.
Yes.
Which says it speaks more about her than it does about me.
You're still married, so I guess.
Look, I grew up in the 80s and 90s watching, you know, being a huge fan of skateboarding. I was also a lifelong, I was skateboarding RC cars my whole life. And I remember very well, like when a skateboard movie came out, no matter what it was, you were like, well, you have to go watch this thing. right? Be it like the 35 seconds of the Bones Brigade in, what was it, Police Academy 4 or something. I watched that movie 3 times just to see that, right? So, you know, I think you guys did such a good job really setting up. So, look, this is a movie about RC cars. You have to go see it, right? I just missed seeing the theater premiere in California just as I was moving.
Oh, right.
Because they put on a little show, and a lot of the industry guys went over there. And you know, clearly, as anyone knows, making a movie's hard. And you know, yeah, there were some plot flaws, and my wife pointed every single one of them out. I think what do you guys said? What was it? A guy meets a girl on an RC track, so it's fictional, right? But you know, take it for what it is. And you know, I've got a lot of time on my hands right now, so it was fun to fill an hour and a bit of you know, it was good.
Yeah.
Go watch it.
If you haven't seen it, go watch it so you can ask us questions about it, because it's not the last time we're going to talk about that movie.
Every guest must be asked.
Well, why don't you show us what you got going there, James? So, I'm curious to see what you're going to show us.
I know, Matt, you've been restoring a RC10.
Yes.
And I've been one of my projects right now is an RC10. This is a for those of you who don't know, this is the 91 Detroit's world replica Masami Hirazaka, who's if anyone knows anything about RC racing, the guy's a legend.
Yeah.
Drives with his feet with sticks faster than most people can drive with a wheel and a trigger.
I've seen photos of that guy standing next to all of his trophies.
Yeah,
he's got a lot of trophies.
Yeah, that's about the extent of what I know about him. But,
and that car that James has is very much a classic.
So, but it's crazy. So it took me a while to get hold. This is a replica chassis, and again, this is the guys that put this together, Nix. They used a bunch of reference, and I actually think Team Associate helped them. They got all the this was a chassis that Team Associate built for their team drivers for the World Championships, and it never went into production. And it had injection molded parts in it, and they never used it. They had the gold tub, and then they went to this for this one championship, which luckily they won because Masami's just and apparently it was terrible to set up, and they couldn't figure it out. And the thing was there's a whole story in racing about it. But it had this stacked carbon fiber chassis. These parts are all replicas. They're 3D printed because the chassis all went back. They got them off the team drivers and they went back to the Team Associate. And over the years, they've got one that they kept, which is Masami's, and the rest kind of disappeared, I guess. But they did a great job replicating it. So I'm trying to build it, hunting down, as you do, the original Novak speed control, trying to get it all. This is halfway there probably.
Why are the wheel nuts covered up?
Yeah, so this is just one of those fun things I find, right? So Masami's a team driver for Yokomo, a Team Associated. He's got he's already well established at this point. The guy can do anything he wants, right? So he likes pink and green. These are his team colors. So I guess for whatever reason, they couldn't mold the wheels in pink, even though there were pink molded wheels from Yokomo at that time. So he put sticky pink labels on it. And on the front, he cut out the wheel nut. So this is just vinyl. I replicated it, found the neon pink and stuck it on. And on the back, he covered the whole thing up. So you have to take the sticker off to undo the wheel nuts. What? And he's got this very elaborate, like custom Yokomo adapter for the rear wheel. And that's kind of how he ran it. I think it was maybe aerodynamic. Like the whole thing is an experiment. There's so many geometry and things on here that were new and novel, and I guess that was his way of not, this is back in the day when the tracks were muddy and stuff stuck. So I don't know how much of that is aerodynamics and not picking up a bunch of dirt in the deep dish wheel. Who knows?
That's probably more what it was. And look at how far raked back that the front suspension towers are. That was not stock or near anywhere stock for that era.
So this is the Kinwald 93 World's replica. So they went back to their tub chassis.
Yeah.
And short shocks, and this looks much more like Matt's one. But I'm a fan of that. Again, when I get a minute, I'll go do do that. And then I've got the CCO2, which Matt, you've built, right?
I have, yes. I'm going to be downloading those parts shortly. Thanks, James.
I have not built the CCO2 yet. It's one of those ones that I've built every other.
That should be a Friday.
I know.
Yeah, that should be a Friday build. Why haven't you done that one yet?
Yeah. It's I think there's been plenty of reviews and build videos, but the thing I love about Tamiya, I followed this in the race buggies until they got really, really serious about going fast and had a works team in California. What Tamiya do is they design stuff like no one else has designed anything. So it's like in a box. Like the guy who designed this probably didn't look at any of the other. So there's
he definitely didn't.
Original, right? It's original. It's like there's no learnings from anyone else about anything. Having said,
I get it, but it's crazy talk at the same time.
Oh, I know. It's like they went in and they said, okay, what we need you to do today is we need you to design a solid axle truck, front and rear. Don't worry about the CCO1. Don't look at anything that was on that truck. Don't even look at it. Right. Build something entirely different.
But because of that, it's a fun build because it's all new. You can build. There's so much criticism about when a company brings out a new rig that's something similar to a previous rig. But that's just good design evolution, finding what works, adopting that, adding your own twist, and I think we've seen that through Axial, Element, HPI, Traxxas have all kind of raised the bar and done things differently. Vanquish, definitely. So there's some things on here which, like I said, it's original, but they did something on this that no one's done yet, which is, Axial nearly did it. They do the adjustable chassis, but you still have to change the links. Why isn't the links attached to the bit you adjust?
Yeah.
And you just stretch it. Now, I know the geometry of the drive axle, but really, we're not going 100 miles an hour. You don't need that perfect link to yoke geometry thing. But on the CCO2, you can do that. It's actually got 3 different wheelbases, and you can actually move this inboard. This is the long version, but I actually think it can go extra long. And the C channel, the C things can be extended just with actual regular from a hardware store C channel and drilled out. So the customization of this is actually really good. What I did was I did a SCX10 style bumper mount. Actually, the idea, credit to Tony Fallon at Tamiya, said, hey, can you make something like this for this rig? And I'm like, yeah, no problem. So that was an easy add-on. And then obviously, the under detail is brilliant. Tamiya, the quality of the plastics is great, but it's terrible for crawling. So I just built a skid that makes it nice and smooth, and then bolts down from 4 bolts in the top. And really that's it. I mean, it's going to be great for those short wheelbase, narrow scale bodies that Tamiya do. If you want something that you want to be a live axle, not an IFS, which was their CCO1. So actually I like it for probably all the opposite reasons that I like all my other trucks, but it's cool.
Yeah, it is very cool.
And then last one.
Like I said in my review, it's very much, it's the Tamiya way.
Yeah.
You do it totally differently for no reason.
I think that's why I haven't built it yet. Just because, what did I build? I built a couple of things lately. I know I built a dancing rider, dual rider, but those are amazing and no fault can be found. But I built something else.
The Fat Fox.
Oh yeah, that's right. The TTO1E, the Fat Fox buggy raw.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, the buggies are similar over the years as people figure out how to make buggies go fast. Tamiya just ignored it.
Yeah, we're not interested in racing.
No, make it look cool and funky and do things. And then the other one I got is my little, I like rally. I mean, I'm anything with wheels that's RC. So that's the parts I did for the Lancia Delta. So, but they never did a proper light bucket set, so fix that. And then
is that the hard body or is that still?
No, this is Lexan paint on the outside, which is what you have to do to make it look scale.
Yeah, darn right.
The line tape. You see that, okay. And then to me, rally cars have to have the massive light pod, ridiculously oversized light pod, mud flaps.
Yeah,
it's not a rally car if it doesn't have those on it. To me,
I like the wheel covers there too.
Yeah, turbo fans. These bolts on top. You can get like this is just I took Carlos Sands. Can't remember what year it was, but his Lancia SOR Racing. I got confirmation. I've got some new graphics to go on it to make it non-box art. And then the internal roll cage and just all the bits. Tamiya do a good job, but this was a weak point, so we put a skid on it that matches the factory look of the thing, and then light buckets front and rear because you got to have lights if you're scaling, right? So that was fun. Yeah, that's my. And I showed you all those things, and you've seen the DeMello bumper, and hopefully that was fun for a run.
Yeah,
so I lost you guys for a brief second.
I almost thought
totally
I was like, we're gonna lose Matt. We're gonna lose Matt. No.
No, I'm back.
I had a blackout the other day. I thought Toronto had gone under the.
Oh man.
Matt always seems to drop out for some reason.
Yeah, there's always some fault. For some reason, Skype just decided to stop working just now.
Perfect.
But everything's back. We're fine. Like it never happened. James, are all those parts available on My Mini Factory for the Lancia?
The Lancia, no. But if I had enough requests, that's an easy thing to do.
I got one from me.
One, you got it. Yeah.
Is it that's on the what's that platform? The XV1?
TB02.
Oh, wow. That's
the
no
TB02.
performance. That's the no performance chassis.
It's the asphalt special, hence it's lower.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. The XV's if you want the rally gravel off-road jump it, you go get the is it XV01?
Yeah, I think that's what I always saw people using for rally stuff.
Yeah.
But Tamiya do a good job of, I think, I haven't tried it, maybe Matt you can. They do a pretty common bumper attachment area.
Yeah.
Within their stuff, they do have a lot of templating and standardized.
I think I'd prefer to go slow with that one anyway.
Right.
It looks good from a distance.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's what you're best at.
Well, yeah.
Slow.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. All right. James, if there's nothing else from anybody here, questions wise, I don't want to, I know you've got other responsibilities because it's tomorrow. What time is it there actually?
I'm in the future and half an hour to my next official meeting. So I'm just in lunchtime right now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we won't keep you. I think that's probably it for questions on my side, unless you've got anything, Josh.
Last question that popped up is, James, what were the wheel fans on the rally car? Were those your prints?
Yeah, turbo fans on the stock Lancia wheel. They just bolt straight on.
Right. So yeah, they're another one of your designs.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
The black part's printed and it prints onto the wheel that looks like it bolts onto the wheel that looks like that.
Fantastic.
James, I appreciate it. It's good to talk to you. Nicole says hello. She had a blast hanging out with you at Proline last year, and your brother. And so.
Oh yeah, your brother. How is your brother doing?
Yeah, he's good, but he's in London. Same thing.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
He's got a great view of the Thames, and he can't leave the apartment. So apart from yeah, but hopefully, when this is all over with, we'll be back out to California, maybe Proline next year, maybe Axel Fest, but something like that. We're gonna get, and it'd be great to see you guys in person. But it was great hanging out, catching up.
Yeah,
it was so great. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, James. It's been a real pleasure. James Knight, everybody. Stay well over there. Say hi to the fam for me too. Yes. I had a great time hanging out with you guys the last time.
Thanks again, James. I appreciate it.
Cheers, guys.
Take care of yourself, pal. So I think he's gone now.
So it was always
now
good.
It's just us
to have James.
Oh man, he's got a long and storied history in this hobby, and I'm not sure you never went to his house or anything, right?
I did not.
Okay, so I had an opportunity. He picked me up at the airport for Proline because I was giving him a hand with a bunch of stuff there last year, and I spent a few hours hanging out in his garage, and his garage had every single vintage RC buggy from Tamiya that you could think of. Any of the cool stuff, Avante, Egress, super hot shot, like all the crazy ones from back in the day. He had all of them, and they were all like completely mint.
Yeah, that is, I can respect that type of personality. That is not
you.
Keeping something stock and old. Like,
and just keeping it on the shelf.
This isn't the best anymore. What? You haven't tried to make it better,
right?
Why do you have
it? Certainly you've got some things in a box that like you've probably got an Origin in a box that you'll keep forever. No,
we have one for the shop, but not because I wanted it. Like,
oh, weird.
I know. Okay. I just no.
You're not much of a collector then, eh?
No, just build the next one better. Like,
all right. I'm whatever gets you going.
I'm ready to try something. Try it again. Try another.
Yeah.
You know
yeah.
I mean?
Okay. I guess for me, it's more of like a nostalgia.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't have that nostalgia.
Right.
Honestly, so nostalgia for me, like honestly, that is one of the things that I like about YouTube. Is like I said something last week and you had poked at me about it. Is like I was watching a video from when I went to the mine, the abandoned mine.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And like I enjoy going back and watching some of those videos of my own, but it's because of that part of the nostalgia for me. Like I like to go see an old build, but I just I spent the time to go through and be like, this is the part of this you should look at. Like here, it's all in the videos. Right. So yeah. I like the video. I'll go back and I'll watch a build that I did. I watched that mine video trip last night.
I do watch a lot of my running videos over and over again. Mostly because I like the slow motion and I like my music choices and I like seeing the truck articulate and stuff. I don't watch a lot. Like I go back and I watch stuff just to make sure I'm recalling something properly. Like if I said something in one video, I really hope I'm saying it the same way in the next one.
Nicole just commented on it. She says, when was the last time you watched our wedding video?
Oh, boy. Whoops. Well, obviously yesterday, I fired up the VHS machine and loaded it up. Just, you know what, dude? Just put it on YouTube.
You're right.
It'll always come up in your feed. Wow. Called out. That's good. Amazing.
Yeah. Those memorable days and all.
What a huge man. You know what? That mine video, I loved doing that. Oh, I guess I'm married too.
Man, it was one of the best days. I was all by myself. There's nobody else around.
Yeah, it's top 20 at least for memories. J.R. Lawson, thanks for the $5. You guys keep me looking forward to Wednesday and Friday and Sunday and Tuesday. Keep those shows going. We should just fill every single night of the week.
I really do enjoy the live. Me
too.
The live stuff has been great, and it's building the studio up to kind of do live more. Matt and I both got tied in with EVGA, they're like a computer parts company, and they are RC people. Matt did a video about it a little bit, but
yep.
They both got us set up with some nice graphics cards and power supplies.
Pretty good hardcore hardware beyond my wildest imagination.
For me, it's just been the best thing because like we're doing live right now and my AC's going. And normally, like when I'm recording videos, I don't record through the system. I record on my camera and my audio recorder, but I have to go turn my AC off. Normally, right. But for the live feeds, I'm just like, man, I should just be recording through this because it's so nice and just.
So it's a feature on the graphics card.
Yeah, it's called RTX Voice, So our graphics cards are the RTX cards.
Yes.
And if you're running one
Yes,
of those,
that much I know.
yes, you have the RTX 2080 Super. And on any of the RTX cards, you can take and run this RTX thing, and it will help cut out noise. One of the things, somebody in here, right when I started this feed, I saw him post. He was talking about the TMC 2209 drivers for our 3D printers, which basically turns our 3D printers silent, it's supposed to do. And I got those in today.
Oh, no kidding.
So I'm going to try and do
them a test.
I'm going to try and do the conversion on my TiVo Nearest that I have here. And I think it's going to be a bit of a process to kind of update some firmware and stuff like that. But I'm thinking once I get that going, I wouldn't mind doing a little bit more of the, 3D printing a little bit during video. But like right now with the stock drivers in those printers, it's just way too loud. Yeah. But the RTX would almost cover it.
Where do you stick those? Like, where do you glue them in to something?
Yeah, exactly. Just get your styrene glue, a little bit of filler.
Okay. No, but where do they go on the control board?
Yeah, the board. There's these little kind of rectangular boards, like size of a postage stamp with some pins, and basically you pull the old ones out. These will go in there, but then I also believe that we're going to have to do
soldering.
No soldering, just like some firmware stuff and things like that.
Oh,
it's
all right. Well, hey, why don't you? And while I'm thinking about it, send me a link to this RTX audio thing, and I'll learn how to turn that on. Because I don't have an air conditioner running in this area, but I do have a dehumidifier. So maybe cutting out some of the background would be helpful.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, your audio is great, but if I had mine
turned off, thank you.
I mean, if I turn it off, like I'm turning it off right now. I don't know how long it takes.
Oh yeah, I can totally hear it.
You can hear that? Like it's loud.
Yeah.
So, and then you turn
it on. Oh, that's way better.
So, it's just one of those things. Like it makes everything more comfortable. It's so nice to just put a little bit into a setup and be able to come in here and just fire this up. But
yeah, well, I talked a little bit about this last night on the Light Room live stream. But I was talking to the EVGA guys again, and I was saying, I edit on my MacBook, but I'm kind of like blown away by the performance of a PC for about like a fifth of the price or a third of the price. I'm going to set up an editing computer. And they were like, well, great. We'll send you some more junk. So they sent me another box full of things. And now I'm going to start piecing that together. And I think the goal will be to set up a good editing system at home for myself for work, but also give an opportunity to kind of do like a live demo on how to edit tiny truck videos.
Yeah. And,
so I think that'll be another night of the week.
I'll be very interested to see your workflow on that, being that, that you are a professional editor and I am a hack.
Well, hack is a strong word.
Yeah,
I'd say you're a top-rated amateur.
Right. Oversaying my abilities. What I think actually I would like you to get it set. Honestly, the system you have there, like you have a 2080 Super in that machine right now, which is the one you're going to move over to your editing machine.
That's right. I'm moving that one over and I'm replacing this with a 2060.
Right. But I think that on one of these, we should both go back and forth editing a video. Like just install
dueling edits.
Just to go through, even if it's a short thing. I would love to just go through how I do my process normally and see how you do yours.
I'll tell you how bad it is.
Yeah, we both edit in Premiere Pro from Adobe, and I switched to Premiere because of Matt. I was editing on my MacBook Pro using Final Cut Pro. Man, a lot of pros. Pro. But
yeah, most of those aren't pro anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but I think that'd be fun. I mean, at least for 40 or 50 people.
Yeah, for a very limited audience, it would be super fun to watch two people. It's basically the way I like to equate my job and the job of a lot of creative people on my end of the business. It's mostly like watching paint dry.
Yeah, it's like Here, we're going to do
So
a live stream on the least exciting portion of everything you see. We get to go out to cool spots and film a truck. That's kind of fun.
Yep.
Then we get to, come in here and talk about one, build one, and we film all of that. And then's the boring part. But you want to see this. It's the worst idea for a live video ever, but I want to do it.
Totally. I mean, to be totally frank, I still go to the YouTubes to watch tutorials on effects that I have nothing about or want to learn about, or how to implement a new technique. There's all kinds of great tutorials. I'm probably not the best person to teach you, but there are some good opportunities to teach some basics about editing, and I think that's probably going to be the focus.
Right. Or even if it's just the difference of of what we look for during our edits, and the difference between your style and my style. Just like how I try and look for good information, and you don't care as much about that, but you like to look for things that look.
Wow. Like how you just turn the camera on and then turn it off after half an hour and just upload that. It's a technique. It's cinema verite.
Don't knock my one-shot scale news that time. That was awesome.
It was pretty good. I did enjoy that. What did Moose Jaw said that this next show where we just edit together, that'll be on the Ocho.
The Ocho.
Moose Jaw is always good for a laugh, eh?
Yes.
There was another one he said just after Nicole asked you how many times you'd watched your wedding video. He goes, from your perspective, we have a video? That's great. Need a celebrity to do play-by-play during the action. If they could stay awake.
Yeah.
Moose
Jaw doesn't live that far away. He can just like sit back there and just, he'd do it golf style though on a separate microphone. And
very quiet.
Matt opens up the next clip. And
And now Josh is going to attempt a dissolve. I appreciate his candor, and while most people would choose not to use a dissolve, he does go by the mantra, if you cannot solve it, dissolve it.
Oh, Ron G brought up a point, and I think that I'm gonna read his comment to you, because I'm also going to I shook my phone so hard yesterday that I hope you felt it, and that was while you were eating while streaming crunchy taquitos.
I know. My initial response. I know. It's taboo. It's not something you should be doing. It's very bad. And I do apologize.
I feel bad for drinking on video. Like sparkling water.
You need to have refreshment. I've seen you eat. You had a pizza
once, and I ate it like this and away from the camera.
But what I did was I turned it off and I went full screen so you couldn't see me shove these things into my face.
True.
Because nobody wants to watch that, and I know that. And my initial reaction when Rebecca brought them down, maybe on another channel, which I'm starting soon. So Matt eats. What was I saying? There was no way around it. Dinner was ready when it was ready. I want to eat. Full screen meant Monch time. Yes, fistful of throttle. That was his go-to. Full screen is Monch time.
Why don't streamers have a cough button? Oh, there is. We can set up mute keys, which not a bad idea.
Yeah, exactly. Because I actually, on that stream, I also had my first sneeze.
Oh, wow.
Since we've gone live.
Was it full dad sneeze or?
Wah-wah!
Did you have the wind up?
No, it was a pretty normal. I think it was just sort of like, but it was like, again, it was full screen, so I don't think anybody saw me sneeze.
Yeah, that I could see that.
But yes, I agree. I won't ever do that again because I felt very self-conscious about my eating.
You should.
Yeah, Moose Jaw said we need sound effects / sound bites. Like it's like 1990. We should get like a big soundboard with like all the things you just beep boop boop, fart noise, explosion, kaboom, kaboom.
Problematic bell.
Wah, 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 wah.
Well, this was a good stream. I'm quite pleased with I'm probably going to watch this one again.
Yeah. It's going to go into the Hall of Fame for me,
Right.
I think. It's really great that we're getting some quality guests because listening to just the two of us has to get tiring.
Agreed. And I mean, I do want to do the edited one. So one of these weeks when we really want to drive people away, let's think about that.
Yeah. Like when we're like, you know what? This is the last one. No one's probably watching anyway.
Right. It's like one of those really, really, let down finales, like where it just fades to black.
We all end up in jail somehow.
Yeah.
That's probably.
Oh, right.
And considering what Monthly Mayhem is going to bring, there's a strong likelihood that could happen for that finale.
That we end up in jail? I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. Because now it sounds like it's actually truly really happening.
We had a slight delay on the Mayhem thing. We sent a nudging.
Supposed to be today.
Today was supposed to be the kickoff. But
yeah.
We had a small delay. We sent a nudging email. We got a response though with an apology, a little bit of a my bad, kind of forgot. But we're back on track and everything's looking good. So that's going to start soon. And then I think Matt and I have also further discussed the next budget build, which the topic came up last week. We had a nice little round table discussion here. And
we did.
Yeah, I think that we're both ready for that pain again.
Oof.
Ready to get out there and get hurt again.
Yeah. It's guys you have no idea how challenging it is to do this is 16 weeks, but this has been a pleasure.
Right.
This has been like, I don't know, like cotton candy every week.
Right. Just funnel cakes and taquitos. Like that's...
Right. But a budget build, especially with the constraints that we're putting on this one, if we end up going the route that we're thinking we're going to go, that's going to be painful, man.
It is. I hope that it's still popular, even though with the thought that we have, but I think it will be.
Yeah. I think it will.
And I think it'll be a fun one. So.
Yeah. Yeah. We're building the Charisma Coyote.
Yeah.
No, we're not. What other interesting budget build off chassis could we use?
Tamiya TXT1.
The Capo. What is that thing called?
Oh God, they have the Ace one. They have the JK Max.
I'm not your effing baby. Is that what it says on the inside of the box?
Capo effing design, effing everyone.
I want that. I want to be effing everyone.
Yeah. Wow.
Weird. So weird.
Bad translation.
So, yeah. Chibs, $9.99 and an animated sticker. Thank you very much.
Animated sticker.
For the thank you dog, and thank you for the donation. That's very kind of you.
Tracks Stampede for the
Oh, wow. Actually, you know what?
4x4 Stampede though. Oh.
That's more expensive.
I know, right? Twice as many drive shafts, and oh God.
Darn it. It's way harder to build that. I don't have time.
Yeah. I think that we've got a bunch of guest possibilities, and some people making a bunch of suggestions here. Matt and I have some other industry friends that I think we'd like to reach out to.
I have a lot of friends.
Right. I have made some suggestions that Matt won't agree to. I think they would be
really?
great TV.
Oh, well, message them to me right now because I want to know who you're thinking because I want to laugh out loud, but not.
Yeah, right.
Not know why.
Oh, you've shot it, Jam.
Oh, have I? Okay.
So, and well, I misspelled that message, but still,
Oh, yeah. No, I haven't shot that one down. Let's just do it.
Okay, done.
You can email them.
I will call him.
I don't think he'd have any trouble talking to me. I've never done anything wrong.
Oh, me either. I'm more excited about the story.
Do you think that there would be one?
I think there would be one.
Yeah, I bet you there is one. Do you think he's allowed to share it?
I think so.
I've given away too much. I'm not saying anymore.
I know.
Craig Thompson suggested we do an Orlando budget build off.
Oh, spoiler alert. That's what I'm building Friday.
Are you really? You're building one?
Yes.
I've always wanted to see somebody build one of those.
It might have been that who suggested it to me. He's like, hey, if you want to just really just ruin your night, how about the Orlando?
Wow.
I said, challenge accepted.
All right. I'm looking forward to seeing that because that thing.
So let's see.
You're gonna have to zoom in really tight.
Yeah. I got the Orlando, and then I also bought myself a 1/5 scale build for Friday night.
Sorry, let me get over my quintuple take.
Yep. Yes. Here's an inch.
Did you get it from the Bang Gang?
In fact, I did.
Yes. All right.
It is 1/5 scale, but it was only like $230 as a kit.
As a kit?
It's a kit. $230.
Hold on. Will I go to Bang
Does
Good?
not come with tires, which I was not aware of.
That's probably why it's cheap.
So I had to buy tires today for $100 from Italy because that's the only place you can get these tires.
Weird. RC car. Okay, one moment here.
Well,
I usually sort by price most expensive.
I do as well when I'm shopping on Banggood.
Oops, I went the wrong way. All right.
Yeah,
it's not any of these.
I'm generalizing. It's around that $220 range, I think.
U.S. dollars?
U.S. doll hairs.
One moment, please.
I have been.
Oh, they've got a really good looking. I like the look of the Freeman 90046.
Oh, the 90046. The 90046 was a step up from the 90045. But
you don't want to get yourself a 940 or 90045B. Those were awful.
You either want to wait for the 90045D or just wait until they do the 90045-8. They're going to skip the 7, I think. It's like Windows.
I have to go to page 2 to find this. You said around 2 something?
I think it was about 220.
Oh, man. I hope everyone's playing the home game version of Find Garbage that Josh is building.
Yeah, no one said it yet on this side. There's been some guesses, but it's not.
I see a 1/8 kit.
No. You might be better off searching by 1/5.
Is it ZD Racing camouflage color MT8? No, okay.
It is not. It is no color. It is clear. It is a kit.
I've gone past the $200 mark. Okay, I better search by 1/5.
I can't remember if you can search.
You can
on their site by 1.
Oh, there isn't one. Oh, 1/8 and bigger. Okay, that's the way to do it.
There you go. That's a good way.
Still not.
No.
You
may be making one crucial mistake, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm trying to go on to Banggood and see if
That's
I
banggood.com.
Banggood. If you guys have never heard of such a
not what I like
fine
to refer
establishment.
to it as.
Yeah, they don't actually.
Maybe it's not there.
1/8 and bigger. Yeah, it only shows 2. Oh, that's weird. This, and it's
gone.
No, it's. I think it's like a. I'm trying to see how it's listed when I search for it in the way that I know, because it's.
If anybody has found it. The 1/14th. No, it's not it. Josh has it open in one of his million tabs.
Now, this is. I will say what one of the things is that this is following in the route of there it is.
What do I need to search here?
I mean, it was exactly $210.14. But
I see 210.11,
right.
but I don't see, everything has wheels and there's no kit here.
Yeah, they see that. Well, it has wheels. It doesn't have tires.
Oh, tires. Sorry.
Right.
Is it a buggy or a crawler?
Nope.
Oh.
See, that's
it's a crawler then.
Nope.
It's a monster truck.
Nope.
Short course?
Nope. It's something I would still like.
I can't think of anything that like a rally car?
No. See, you're thinking maybe too many wheels.
Oh, it's a motorcycle.
It's a motorcycle. 1/5 scale motorcycle.
Weird.
I know. This will be the 4th or maybe 5th RC motorcycle I've purchased.
And they're all trash.
You know how many of them I've ever successfully driven?
0.
0.
Wait, is it the Fijon
Yes.
FJ 918?
913.
Oh, I don't see the 913.
They have a 918 and I bought the 913?
you blew it.
I didn't go by my own rule. You're right.
You blew it.
And it's cheaper. Oh, wait, no, because the 918 is an 8th scale.
Oh.
I got the bigger one because this one looks like it comes with tires, though. That would have been a better buy. I wouldn't have had to buy GRP tires from Italy.
I got bad news for you. There's an even bigger one.
Is there a quarter scale?
Yeah.
From Fijon?
No, from... I love how you say from Fijon.
Fijon?
Like, you've ever heard of Fijon up until yesterday when you bought this dumb thing. Well, oh, wait. If it's not the Fijon, it's got to be the Sky RC.
Right.
No, joke's on you. It's BSD Racing.
BSD or T?
BSD. Well, there's actually Sky RC has the SR5 quarter scale.
Oh,
BSD,
you're talking about the dirt bike one.
Yeah.
Oh, damn, 300.
What are you getting? A
road
bike?
Yeah.
Ugh.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah. Friday's going to suck, you guys. I would watch.
Oh, don't worry, because the expected delivery time is between 25 and 40 days because there was no option for expedited shipping. So in like a month and a half, you might see me build an RC. I'm going to forget about it by then. Like,
what you have to do is get a good relationship with the people at Banggood. And that way you get a contact email and the email address doesn't change, but the person who you're dealing with always does.
Right.
And I've dealt with the
good,
the good, the bad, and the ugly. From
the good, the bang, and the ugly. That's you missed it. You missed a real possibility there.
I did miss a great opportunity, but thanks for getting it. Yeah, it's an interesting.
I think that's
situation.
the problem is that I have had Banggood send me things before, but they sent me 2 cars at one time, and both I just got them and I was just like, I'm not doing this. This is This is ridiculous.
That's one of the ones I sent back when they sent to me. I was like,
Yeah.
This isn't me.
Yeah, exactly. They sent me a mini Wraith Twin Hammers knockoff. It was a Twin Hammers with an exact Wraith knockoff page on it, but like shrunken down. And we crushed it in a press. Like a 200-ton press at Laser Nut. Like, you want to crush this thing? Like, sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
Just
I don't need
ate it right now. It was kind of fun.
We should. That actually might be an interesting challenge. Is to do like they've done like I built a PC off Wish.
Right.
Maybe we built our RCs off Wish.
Yeah. We're gonna order all of those parts and then go. Remember that series we talked about?
Those parts never showed up.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good luck with your failures.
Yeah. I'm gonna have some tires from Italy here probably before too long, and then I'll wait for
GRP do make excellent tires.
They do. I own some GRP tires.
I got a lot.
I bought a lot as well from the.
Isn't it amazing that I just have this stuff just sitting here ready to go?
Yeah, like weird. What do you need GRP Go Fast tires for?
Well, these I think I bought originally for the
drag bolt.
Yes, these were for the drag bolt, and then I have another set that I bought just for the burnout car.
Right.
Actually, I have a lot of those. I bought multiple packs because I was like, I'm going to go through all of these.
I did I did the same.
Didn't use.
Yeah,
I didn't.
And then I put my D Boots Hoons on it and just was like, obviously this is the.
These smoke pretty well already.
Right. I mean, yeah. So.
Yeah. So now I've got a lot of Italian tires if anybody's interested.
Yeah, and I was thinking the same. I was like, I bought GRP tires before. But then it's weird. The RC motorcycle GRP tires, not as widely distributed.
And
weird. They were, when I spent like $105 for these tires. 2 tires.
Serious money.
1 front tire, 1 rear tire.
Oh my God.
I've bought actual motorcycle tires for that kind of money. It's like,
wow.
It was.
Somebody suggested another guest.
Oh, who's that?
Hemmistorm.
Oh, of course. Yeah, Chris is and with his new studio set up, he should be.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think that's a no-brainer. Chibs actually suggested Hemmistorm.
That's
somebody else did too. Daryl Barter.
Kevin. Yeah, that's definitely the solid way to go. And he's back. He's back, baby. And so he's probably going to start painting his SCX 10.3 eventually here. Yeah. Yeah. What did he just do a video of? The Element Trail Walker, maybe? Or not Trail Walker. Trail Runner. Trail Runner. The other one. IFS. Yes. And he just put up his SCX 10.3 video the other day, which I missed that one. Got to preview. I got to preview that a long time ago. Oh wow! So. Look at you go. He hasn't done videos in a little bit. I mean, he might not be popping up in my subscription as much. I need to go double check that. Yeah. And so yeah, he's definitely back, and his studio is amazing. He built that whole thing with his bare hands. Yeah, his new building is beyond. One day I will go see that. I will invite myself to his house and go see that. Yeah. And so I will stay there with him. Yeah. That's my my accent, my Amsterdam accent. That sounded Scottish or something. And he's not in Amsterdam, he's in Norway. Yeah, but he's from Amsterdam. Yes. That's or the Netherlands or Holland. Who? Oh, nope. Lane Teague. Nope. Greg, calling you out. Greg, RC driver. Oh, yeah. Greg would be a good one. Greg would be great, too.
And if you want to get your Tamiya on, we can get Tony on.
Tony, Mr. Phelan from or here in California, working for.
Yeah,
He
California.
works for Tamiya now. Yep, we've got that. We've got. I think we can.
Do you think Rodney would go on?
Rodney's one, like, he's in our shared notes.
Yeah.
He's still in there at the top, because I think there's so many, even just topics about Rodney and how he I think he had a huge part in changing the market that we're in, even if it wasn't understood at the time. Just with how outside the box he thought.
Exactly. He changed the landscape, and that would be a really interesting conversation. I mean, I've had, as I'm sure you have too, long conversations with them already, offline, just about tiny trucks and stuff. Right. So,
Rodney and I have butted heads before, just because of the difference in how I do things versus, my go in and modify everything approach.
It's probably just how many Exos you burned down.
Yeah, burning down a brand new car. That's no, I've seen some of the RC Girl. She's not actually far from me. Tony from CCXRC. Tony,
she's down in whatchamacallit?
In
Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz, that's right, not Contra Costa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
CCXRC. We talked about him too.
Yep, I talk to Tony every once in a while a little bit, like through messaging.
He's a film editor too.
Is he? He always talked about kind of being in a business that was peripheral to. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah. He's like a kind of a gun for hire, and edits and shoots a bunch of documentary stuff.
Oh, gotcha. Crazy. Yeah. And he's on the East Coast.
Oh, is he? Oh,
yeah. He's in Connecticut area. I think he must be close to near Greg, or not Connecticut. I'm pulling Connecticut in my hand, but
yeah. No, that sounds right. Greg's in Pennsylvania.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. Is he?
I thought he's in Connecticut.
Oh, maybe you're right. I don't know. It looks like Pennsylvania to me when I see it.
So when it was funny because it's I ordered my new CNC router and I made a post and it was waiting for that, and then I got a call like the next day from Greg like, "Yo, cancel that order." Like, what? He's like, Stepcraft.
There's a new one.
Stepcraft is a company, right? Buy me. Like, it's a much better machine. Like, I can get you in contact with them. They're right by me. And I was like, okay. So then I ended up talking to them. I ended up spending a little bit more money, but got way more machine. And
that's good.
It shipped last week, and it's supposed to be here Monday.
Cool. Awesome.
Yes.
Oh, another suggestion here was Mateo, but I don't know if you know Mateo.
I do not. I've seen some of his movies. He's like Mateo's RC movies or something like that?
Yeah.
I've seen some of it.
Huge.
It's what?
He's got a lot more subscribers than you do.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. Yeah. I think he's over 50K.
Oh, nice.
He's been doing it for a long time.
His stuff is all like well shot running video very stuff, right? It's not. He doesn't do like tech stuff.
No, he's done a few build videos, but it's more like a step by step.
Gotcha.
Tim Samuels. That was another
Mr. Warpig. Yeah, we could have some really good Sorka discussions with Tim.
Spirited Sorka discussions.
Yes,
that would be amazing.
That would be a good topic. I think a lot of people would be interested in getting into the debates and how I understand the rules better than you do. Things like
how you skirt the rules better than I do.
So, yeah, that's like we said, no shortage.
RC Sparks was a suggestion too, but I doubt very highly that two noobs like us could get an old hat like him on here.
He's running a very business oriented.
He's got a lot of business to do.
So, like,
hey, look, I know. Rodney is on my chat. I know because he's the Yamaha T-Dub Club.
Oh.
And he just gave me 3 thumbs up. So thanks for watching, Rodney. Somebody must have told you that we were doing a television program on the internet.
Someone just what was the other one that just popped up on here?
Somebody was asking about Slash 2-wheel drive upgrades, but BP One Go Pro 2. I have no clue on anything Slash. I am not a Slash guy.
Be the
Sorry, dude.
Wrong place for that, probably.
Wrong kind of guy. Corey Drakenberg. He could be a good one too. Have you watched any of his videos?
I'm not
5150 Productions.
He shot like the Proline stuff recently. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
He's awesome.
Didn't know what his real name was. Yeah.
He's from Saskatchewan.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that, like you said, there's going to be no shortage of people we can ask.
Yeah.
See if they, are interested in. Now, for his particular.
Chibs said Alyssa Lee, but I don't know who that is.
I know who she is. I know who she is on Instagram anyway. I don't know if she does any actual content stuff, but
see.
Yeah. I'd love to see more from people inside the business, some Vanquish guys or some folks from the other smaller. A lot of the other Vanquish guys are not as interested in probably. I could probably talk Brandon into it.
What about Brandon? He would do it.
I could probably talk Brandon into it as he balances 3 kids on his head and his shoulders.
Yeah, right, because they just had twins, didn't they?
Yes, they have new twins.
Man, oh man.
I know.
Adam Van Ord. That's true.
Yep.
Rodney wants to know, what are you guys trying to do? Well, we're trying to ruin people's career by coming on this show.
Exactly.
And talking to us. It's a really informal interview show where we talk sometimes about RC stuff.
Right. Yeah. But almost more interesting when we not to.
Yeah, it's a lot more entertaining when we don't talk about RCs.
Yeah. Oh, Dale C had a suggestion here about, possibly looking at people like somebody from A-Main or things like that, like people out who are running more of a store base. Like that could be some interesting possibilities.
Matt or who's their on camera guy that does all their videos at A-Main? Brett. Yeah. I've talked to Brett a few times. That could be a good one. We get a lot more views.
Yeah. So I
miss
think
you too, Rodney.
We'll keep this thing going for a while. Even we've got the discussion of monthly Mayhem coming.
Yes,
that's going to get kicked off here, and the idea for that was it's a Wednesday, but I did a Wednesday video this morning.
Yeah, there's no harm in doing a Wednesday video in the morning, and then we'd actually discuss what happened on that video,
right,
on the live stream,
right,
as a portion of the show, not
and
the whole thing.
The live streams, while doing an edited video takes a lot of hours behind the shooting, editing, upload, all that. Like the nice thing about these is if it's 2 hours long, it takes 2 hours and 10 minutes to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So it'd be. I think maybe we can keep these going still and still have some guests.
I think so.
It is fun. I enjoy it. And we can talk to friends that we don't often talk to. I haven't talked to James over text message in a long time.
Yeah. Oh, Ty from Tekin. Another good choice. That would be a really good one.
Christopher from TGH, who I've been spinning their
transmission there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ty is a good idea.
The perfect fidget spinner the whole time. So.
I've been playing with my standard piece of 3/16 brake line that I've gotten to a nice polish.
Oh wow, that's good work.
Thank you. It's like my no, it's like just over here.
The biggest thing for these live streams are these taking 2 hours away from your other projects, editing, shooting, building. Yes.
I know.
Yes.
And never mind my real job because while it is 11 o'clock, I'm probably going to stay up for a couple hours because I have a massive project that I'm presenting on Friday morning for real work. So I've got many hours ahead of me.
Eric, and I don't know who he means by Eric.
There's a lot of Erics out there.
Yeah.
Bring him on.
Fast Eddie, of course. Okay.
He bought that that crazy tow truck.
He did.
Tamiya.
He bought that, and then he had me design up and print a stand for him, so you can like flip it over and work on some things, flip it back over. So I printed that for him yesterday,
Cool.
and deliver that to him tomorrow.
That's going to be fun because I'm so jealous.
Yeah. Would you guys do some of the videos live on Monthly Mayhem? That's Dawson Bossy was asking.
We could.
Oh, Eric Suits is who he's talking about.
Suits.
Painting.
Yeah. Paint man. You could learn a lot from that one, Josh.
Yeah, that sounds like.
That sounds, for you, that sounds worse than what everybody else watching us edit a video.
Yeah. It's. So yeah, you know, the doing something live for Monthly Mayhem could be interesting, and could also be disastrous at times, and very.
The streams would be over quickly.
Yes, very quickly.
For me, anyway.
The quicker, the better, actually.
I see what you did. I think you might have. You blew it again.
So yeah, and for anyone who didn't see, and like I keep spinning the transmission, I'm doing the 50,000 subscriber giveaway. So as soon as I hit 50K, we're gonna give away a custom truck, and we're doing a creep body mat.
Good.
Did you?
Glad, because you would tarnish that van. I saw how big it is. I watched your video.
It is huge.
Unlike you, I watch your stuff.
I watch all your videos too.
Yeah, no, it's a big body.
Yeah, that is.
It's a big booty Judy.
I mean, you could sleep in this thing.
Well, that's
this thing should pay rent. It takes up so much space in this house.
How many different rear windows did they give you? Just 2?
4.
Yeah, but no, you need to use. They're not. Yeah, 2 of them are the same though.
Yeah,
you ding.
But vans, you only use like one per. You only put like the van on
one side.
No, one side only. Vans. It's only got doors on one side.
If that were true, they would have made 4 different shapes. They only made 2 different shapes.
Yeah, but just because they're mirrors, maybe you want it the other way.
All I'm saying is, step it up, Proline. And where's mine?
Right. Hey, I bought this thing.
I'm sure. Yeah. Well, that's
But I don't.
Good for you.
So this is not from me, but there is a fingerprint like permanently on the back of this one.
Yeah, there usually is on the outer layer.
Really?
Yeah, I in pretty much every vacuum body that you get from Proline, somebody's got a thumbprint on it.
I was not.
Just got to find it. That's how they like pull it out of the thing.
Yeah, and then I got
it's their QC control.
I got what you should be the most proud of, and that is the Tough Color Nova. All black.
Yeah. You're done. Take it out of the box.
We're gonna slap some stickers on it.
Get your body reamer, and you're done.
Yeah, I'm excited for this.
Are you gonna cut out the windows, or are you just gonna leave them?
No. It's done. Like I'm gonna trim out the wheel wells. I
should hope you cut those out. Although aerodynamics,
right over the wheel,
science. It's my meme of the day.
You should take that hat off. You can.
Oh yeah, totally. Aliens.
All right, let's wrap this thing up.
Yes, thanks everybody for watching. This one's been a lot of fun. Jame Knight for participating in this nonsense, and Monthly Mayhem coming soon. And I've got other things coming up soon too. So more videos.
More videos. I might shoot one tonight.
Videos. If I didn't have so much work to do, I would edit the one that I've already shot, but we'll hope to get that one out on Saturday. There will not be Throwback Thursday tomorrow, because I haven't even looked in that box. So much to do. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Yes.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next Wednesday, and then all the other days that we do all of these things.
So many videos.
So many videos.
Bye, everybody.
Later.